Today I'm doing a neutral halo eye makeup look and I want to show you how I make it work on my hooded eyes. The palette I'm using is discontinued, but I'll add a palette in the description that would be perfect for a look like this. For my base, I'm using the Misha Perfect Cover BB Cream. I absolutely love this BB cream and use it pretty much every day. And then I'm adding a little bit more brightening and coverage with Tarte Shape Tape in shade 12N. And once that all dries down, I set it with the Airspun Translucent powder. This stuff is an old classic for a reason. I love the finish it leaves on my skin. For my eyeshadow, I'm starting with this cool light taupe shade and I'm working that into my crease. You want to make sure that you bring it up high enough so that the eyeshadow doesn't disappear into the hood of your lid when your eyes are open and relaxed. I'm also adding some under my lower lash line as well. With this deep cool brown shade, I'm going to use more of a flat and dense brush and tap that into the inner and outer corners of my eyes. You want to make sure you can still see the color when your eyelids are relaxed and looking straight on. And then I just fill in any patchy areas. And with what's left on my brush, I diffuse it out under my lower lash line as well. To get more of a seamless blend, I use more of that light taupe shade on my fluffy brush and blend just around the edges of that deep brown. I also go in again under my lower lash line just to make sure everything is well diffused. For that halo eye effect, I'm taking a light satiny nude shade and tapping that right onto the center of my eyelid with my finger. I really like to use my finger to apply shades like this because I feel like I get a much better pigment than I do when I'm using a brush. Grabbing my flat brush again with what's left over on it of the brown shade, I'm tapping it just on the edges of that bright halo shade to get rid of any harsh lines between the light and dark colors. And with a smaller flat brush, I'm adding an even brighter white shade under the center of my lower lash line, right under my pupils. I want a little more definition, so I'm taking this charcoal shade on an eyeliner brush and adding just a little bit of that along my lash line on the outer edges of my eyes. For my eyebrows, I like to lightly fill in the sparse areas with a gray eyebrow pencil. I tend to keep them fairly soft but still defined, so I typically keep the brow routine pretty simple. Now, using my big fluffy brush with my setting powder, I brush off any eyeshadow fallout under my eyes. Taking my bronzer on another fluffy brush, I add that around the perimeter of my face just to add a little bit of warmth back into my skin. I decided my eyes were missing something, so I grabbed more of that white shade and added it just to the inner corners of my eyes. For my blush today, I'm using this rusty orange shade, which is maybe a strange choice with the cool toned eyeshadows, but it's what I was drawn to, so I went with it. I've been really loving this tubing mascara from Tarte lately. I always seem to have struggles with tubing mascaras flaking on me, but I've had no issues with this one, so it's become my go-to most of the time. To complete this look, I'm using this gorgeous rosy pink lip liner. I can't remember the brand of this one, but I'll link a similar shade in the description. And then I'm using this satin lipstick in the center of my lips. This one is from Buxom, and I believe it's discontinued, but I found one from L'Oreal that's very similar and a lot more affordable, so I'll link that as well. And here's the finished look. I love how easy and forgiving this halo eye look is while still looking like it took a bit more effort. I think this look looks amazing on so many face and eye shapes, and I find it to be really easy to make work on hooded eyes. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more of me, I'd love if you would subscribe.